being here. I'm always excited when I get a group of people together who are willing to listen to what I have to say. So that in itself is just wonderful. It just makes my day. And as Marla said, I'm not published, but I have a lot on my website that I hope you will go and visit, not only recipes, but a lot in the wellness section as well, that I hope will be helpful and you'll be curious about. I come all the way from Irvine, but I do a lot of Skyping for people who aren't in the area. Irvine's not that far away. It's about an hour away when there's no traffic. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different things today. I'll be talking for hopefully about 50 minutes or so, and then questions afterwards. I was hoping that there would be a handout for each one of you that basically had this PowerPoint presentation on it so you can take notes. And apparently there's a cross-communication here, so that's not happening. But hopefully you have something to write notes on if you want to take them. There might be one part where I will stop because it's a little bit in-depth, and I will make sure that there are no questions as far as clarification. Okay? So, having said that, you know, sometimes I think we have to ask ourselves, in everything that we do, is what we're doing, are we thinking the right way? Is the paradigm still in the right place? And this question, are we a Prozac or Paxil deficient society, I think it might be kind of a fair question to ask, because if something's wrong with somebody, they go into the doctor, they go into a psychiatrist, often they'll be handed an antidepressant, anti-anxiety pill, or something to help them sleep, okay? And what that is that's handing something to them to cover the symptom. It's not really going underneath, finding out what's going on. Before I get any further, I do want to say there's a lot of you in here who are therapists and coaches. And I do want to say something before I really get into that. That is, what you do is extremely important, which I know you already know that, okay? But I want to acknowledge that, because holding the space for people to heal, to understand their behavior, understand their thought processes, and understand their trauma and how to heal from that. To hold that space, to allow somebody to do that is huge, is huge. And what I'm hoping to do here today is to give you some additional tools to add to your toolbox to help your clients. Okay, so I'm hoping that that's the outcome of this. Okay, so these medications are probably about 30 to 40% effective, especially first time around, and they are not without side effects. So some of the side effects that we see would be weight gain, loss of libido, a flat line in feeling. Okay, that all affects tremendously how a person can go out and deal with life and recover. Along with that, if somebody does get relief on taking any of these medications, sometimes it can be very difficult for them to wean off of it. And so I'd like to kind of present a different way of going about things so that we don't have that, or if someone wants to wean off of it. These give you some ideas of how you can possibly approach it, or at least understand it. Okay, not something maybe you want to do, but at least it would be an understanding of how, where you maybe point them, or point them to professionals, or at least so you know. Okay, so antidepressants are the third most prescribed medications. A lot. 1 in 10 people use them. You might know all this. 1 in 4 women between the ages of 40 and 50. That's huge. That's huge. And there's a couple different reasons for that. Okay. One is women turn over their serotonin much more quickly, just chemically, than men do. Okay? So we're already predisposed to that. When we hit around 40 and 50, okay, guess what happens? Our hormones start to change. And estrogen helps our serotonin receptors, okay, so they become a little less receptive. So that's why we see that sometimes. And that's why we might see a social drinker that does fine until she hits menopause. And then all of a sudden, oops, we got a problem here, okay? These are biochemical basics. Okay, so antidepressants and anxieties have increased by about 400% since 1988, which is really about when Prozac was introduced. Okay, that's a huge increase. And it's not, I mean, the amount of increase in prescription medicines is just huge anyway. Okay. And again, 60% do not improve on an antidepressant the first go around. So most people do associate what's happening in the brain, and that includes behavior disorders, learning disabilities, and all of that, with either experience or what's happened in their life, or with something neurologically going on, okay, so neurological impairment, especially with something like, let's say on the autistic spectrum, okay, ASD. We think of it as neurological. Well, probably there's an association with it. The last time I looked, our brains and our heads were connected to our body. So there's a definite connection, okay, it's a definite connection. And I also like to propose here too that, you know, a lot of people say that I am depressed. Well, depression is basically a symptom. It's not who you are. It's not what anybody is. They're feeling depressed. Doesn't mean they have to be depressed for their entire life. They might have a genetic predisposition. They may have experienced that from a very young age, actually, but there's something going on. Okay? So our bodies are wonderful tools, and they can tell us an awful lot if we want to listen to it. So I don't know about you, I mean, I'm kind of old now, but we had the game Operation, okay? Yeah, I can see some hands, okay? And the wonderful thing about the game Operation is it exhibited very clearly how everything in the body is connected to one another. Because when you were trying to lift out that bone, if you hit the side of it, okay, the big nose would go up and you would lose your turn and you were done, okay? So everything in the body is connected. And again, our head is connected to our body. Our bodies are connected to our head. All right. Some people, when they look at my bio, when they look at my website, I treat IBS, I treat gut issues, I treat hormone issues, I treat autoimmune issues, addictions, behaviors, those on the ASD spectrum. That's a heck of a lot to help, right? Right. Okay. How in the heck can I do that? Well, you're going to find out what functional medicine is, because there's a root cause to everything, all right? So if you have something going on, let's say someone's predisposed to migraine headaches, okay? We can give them a medication, or we can find out the many reasons why possibly they get a migraine headache. It could be because they have deficiency in magnesium, they have difficult time absorbing it, okay? It could be because they have hormone problems, all right, imbalances. It could be because they have food allergies. All of those, all right? So not one size fits all, and we do have to investigate, and that's what functional medicine does. We get to the root cause. The genetics will be the predisposition, okay? But that's where we go. We have all of these specialties in Western medicine, okay? We have an ologist for everything, okay? We have a urologist, we have a neurologist, we have a proctologist, we have an endocrinologist, we have a gynecologist. Okay, we have all these ologists, and they're all specialized. Cardiologists, yes. They're all specialized, but the body works together. So I just kind of want you guys to get a paradigm of where we're at. It doesn't work. If we look around us, it's not working. We're sicker and sicker and sicker. Okay. All right, so there's 8 areas that I address, and I'm going to address these with you, not all of them in depth. In fact, 1 or 2 I might need to skip over, just not enough time. I could spend an entire lecture on each one of them. But the key areas that I like to address are up here, and the first 3 are in the order that I do address when someone comes into my practice. And when I lecture, okay, this is what I talk about. Diet, learning how, what they eat, what you eat, learning how to use food as medicine. We can use food as poison, or we can use food as medicine. There's no 2 ways about it, okay? And we need to understand that. And I'll explain a little bit more. Gut health. Our gut, our digestive system, is in fact our second brain. It has its own nervous system, okay? And it's connected very, very closely. You know how a lot of you work with dual diagnosis and dual brain and gut. Okay, there's doctors called neurogastroenterologists, neurologists, but at least they combine the neurology and the digestive part of it. Lifestyle stress is huge, huge, huge. This is the 3rd thing that I will address when people come into me. Stress it throws you over the edge. It affects all areas of our body. It affects the digestive system. It will affect our hormones. It will cause inflammation. So we have to bring our lifestyles back to manageable, something manageable weight. Okay. Sleep, hugely important. If someone's not getting sleep, I need to get them to sleep. Okay, there's a variety of different ways of doing that. Sometimes they need some supplements. Sometimes, they just need to learn to calm down, turn off the computer, turn off the, whatever. But we need sleep. That's when the body recovers. Body movement, if I could put exercise in the pill, I'd be rich. We'd all be rich. Okay. So we need to move the body. We do. For the brain, it just gets everything going. We come connected. ANTS. Has anyone ever heard of that acronym, ANTS? Yeah. Do you recognize it? Okay. It's automatic negative thoughts. Okay. How many of us have those? Yeah, we deal with those every day. We all deal with those every day, some more than others. And this is, again, where the therapist and the coach come in. Those automatic negative thoughts, we know that those affect our gut. We know when we get a gut feeling or something, okay? We know when we're frightened. We know when we're stressed. This will shut down, okay? So there's a direct relation. It's a really easy way to understand that relationship. Okay. Nutritional status, that actually would probably be down. Again, the first three is what I hit on. Hormones and adrenals, I look at the balance of the hormones, sex hormones, as well as thyroid, and look at the health of the adrenals. Toxins and inflammation can play a huge role in this, and it depends on the person. So the last, the 4, 5, 6, and 7, 4, 5, and 6. It depends on what is being presented to me in my office. Okay, what's happening here? Toxins, inflammation, genetics. Okay, I am going to talk about one genetic SNP and or a mutation. I am going to talk about one here today, only one, because it hits about 60% of Americans. So I think it's important enough to bring to your attention. I want you to know that you're going to be so smart and feel so good when you walk out of here. Okay. Genetics is only about 25%, okay, of what's going to happen. The rest is lifestyle. We're born with genetics, but we have to have something to turn that light switch on. The things that turn the light switch on, what you eat, your gut, your lifestyle. Those are the things that turn the light switch on. So we don't have to get anything that we are predisposed to. We need to understand that. Okay? We just have to live very carefully and very different from what we're doing. Okay. Drugs, prescription drugs. I'm going to just touch on that a little bit. Prescription drugs do deplete our body of certain nutrients. So I call them drug killers. Okay? So a lot of people, by the time we hit somewhere between the ages of 55 to 65, I would say that a large majority of people are on some kind of prescription drug. Okay? That's a pretty safe assessment. I know it's a scary one. Okay, I don't know what the percentage is. I didn't look that one up. I don't. And what happens is that when you start taking one drug, it's going to start depleting your body of nutrients. So guess what? 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have another disease. And you take another prescription drug to cover those symptoms. Okay, nothing is being repaired, nothing is being healed from the inside. Okay? Now, I'm not against Western medicine as far as triage life-threatening situations. Thank God we have it, okay? For diagnosis, thank God we have it. The problem is doctors are taught how to treat chronic diseases in an acute way. Yeah, okay? Most of our diseases are chronic. Diabetes is chronic. Depression is chronic. Anxiety is chronic. Cancer is chronic. Okay? Heart disease is chronic. Unless you're someone like that. All right, and that's when we really want them. So we need to put all this in perspective. Okay, so I'm going to go into food, and I think some of this is pretty obvious when I start going through this. What's interesting is when we eat foods that don't support our bodies, are high in sugar, high in a lot of carbohydrates, especially white flour, things like that. And because, isn't that a nice one? Isn't that good? What happens is, believe it or not, that can change the flora in our digestive system just by what we eat within about a 6 to 8 hour time period. That's scary. But the wonderful thing is you can just as quickly turn it back around, okay, and do the opposite, not just as quickly, you can turn it back around, okay? So what we eat within a very short amount of time can start to alter what's happening in our digestive system, okay? So these are pretty obvious, okay? All right, so your sodas are pretty obvious. We got French fries going on here. And, you know, it's the bad fats that I'm really worried about here, not so much the potato, but just the fried foods. The fried fats are very inflammatory, okay? The white bread, you might as well be eating sugar. Your body immediately turns that around and turns it into sugar, and it goes into your system just as quickly, okay? A lot of carbohydrates too, that we think is okay, okay? By the way, and I hate to say this, but if any of you know the USDA food pyramid, and honor it. Please don't. We've gotten very, very sick. If you look around, that food pyramid's been around for a long time, even though we did it. It's bullshit. It is bullshit. Okay, so good ones to look at was put out by the University of Michigan and also Harvard. Okay, they've got some pretty good ones. All right. So if you want to do any teaching as far as that's concerned, you would think for your own benefit, I would look at those. So the first level on the USDA food pyramid are carbs. They're all carbs. We eat carbs. We are fat because we eat way too many carbs. So we eat low-fat, high-carb diets. I don't put anyone on a low-fat diet. No one. We all need to be eating more fats and better fats. Okay? Blood sugar, diabetes, all of that. Okay. Heinz ketchup. What's wrong with Heinz ketchup? Sugar. Sugar. What kind of sugar? High fructose corn syrup. Now, Trader Joe's has got regular cane sugar in it, okay? But we've learned to season our foods with mayonnaise, mustard, and ketchup and barbecue sauce. We need the wonderful herbs. We need the wonderful spices. And good food can taste just wonderful. And I like fat, so it can be nice and great. Coconut.
Question, did you say mustard?
Mustard's okay. I'm just saying that's our kind of our go-to.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Mustard's fine, and actually mayonnaise isn't all that bad either. It's made right. Okay. It's just the ketchup. I don't know what this is. Okay. It's packaging and it's got prepared cheese product, okay? You've got to learn how to read. This is a whole other lecture. In fact, I know the course description talked a lot about, I was going to be talking a lot about food. That was a combination of the one I did at Sovereign down in San Clemente and this one. I don't know how that happened, but, you know. So I'm hitting a little bit on the food. I probably should speed it up a little bit. The foods that nurture and feed us. Yeah, juicing. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of juicing. I don't really like it that much, but I will once in a while want a green drink, okay? I will, okay? But that's wonderful if you want to do that. It's a great way of getting your body a lot of different things. I'll talk about a little bit more of what it does. I love this picture. It's just a beautiful picture of kale and beautiful little tomatoes. And this is from a website that I love. It's got beautiful recipes, and she writes beautifully too. It's called The Sprouted Kitchen. Love every single recipe. I tried hers. She used to be a yoga student of mine too. It's been wonderful to watch her just blossom. So, we've got, I'm going to keep on tapping because it'll take forever. Okay, to me this looks really, really good. This looks way better to me than a sandwich, okay? It's sauteed zucchini, mushrooms, bell peppers, and looks like maybe there's avocado, a little cilantro, and I think we've got maybe a little sour cream on it. I could put a little cheese sour cream. Now, those of you who can't do dairy, there's substitutes for that, good substitutes, okay? You do cashew cream or something like that. I just love this picture. I'm sorry you guys can't see it. But it's the figs. It's just a gorgeous picture. I don't know if all of you have enjoyed figs before, but they're coming up in season pretty soon. They're pretty hard to, they've gotten difficult to get in the market, so they're hard to transport. They have to make them pretty grain to transport them because they're very, very delicate. But I went up to a farm and I camped on a farm and I ate figs and wild arugula, and I was just so it was great. And I love figs with goat cheese. Anyone ever tried that? Try it. Yeah, it's so good. I love to eat. Can you tell? I love to eat. And I love to teach people how they can eat and enjoy it and be satiated in their brains, their bodies, everything. Okay, spices. Our turmeric, our cumin, our cayenne pepper, cinnamon. You keep on going. There, use it. Use it. Okay. Let me just speed this up. Beans, some of us can do that, some of us can't. Okay, if you can, it's a great source of protein, it's a great source of fiber and things like that. So whole foods is really what we need to eat. Okay?
Beans in a can or beans in a bag?
You could actually, beans in the can is not bad either. Okay, so if you don't want to prepare it from the bag, there's mostly canned things I don't like, but beans are fine. They don't really lose any of the value there. Canned vegetables, no.
And some of the markets charge more for the packaged beans, you know, that you have to cook yourself, than the canned beans.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I did not know that.
I
I don't
checked
do
it
a
out.
whole lot of beans, so thank you. Yeah, I'm not a real bean person. Eggs! I've got a really bad rap. Okay, eggs are really good for us. It's one of the most perfect whole foods that we can get, okay? That's not where we get our cholesterol from. We get our cholesterol from our liver, okay? That's where it's made. So when our liver is compromised, it is not really, it's the bad fats, and that's why they said low fat, right? 67% low fat. It's all the sugar. Yeah, that makes it have a fatty liver, and that makes it have cholesterol, things like that. And by the way, sometimes they want the cholesterol too low. Okay? We need cholesterol for a lot of different reasons. We can't go into it. I mean, I could be here 3 hours, you guys, so, but I won't. Oh, please. Okay, coconut. Coconut is a great source of fat. Okay, I use a lot of coconut in replacement of dairy. You can do coconut cream. I make a chocolate pudding with avocado and coconut in it. There's no dairy or anything like that.
What form do you buy it in? Like what form do you buy it in?
The coconut milk, or the coconut milk I do canned. Okay, for using the coconut meat, I get the young Thai coconuts. And I use the coconut water as well as the meat and coconut. Yeah. Well, I guess I really like my coconut. Okay, those of you vegetarian, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. I'm not a vegetarian. Interestingly enough, I'm finding more and more people coming into my practice that are having problems with autoimmune disease and gallbladder problems, and they've been vegetarian, and guess what? If we throw them over to more of a paleo diet, a ketogenic diet type, paleo, and getting rid of grains, it makes a huge difference, which is the opposite, at least with gallbladder, that you would expect. You expect grains, less fat, less protein, things like that. So it's interesting. Vegetarian, you have to be real careful. I still tend to be a little more of, someone coined a word, it was like a vegan paleo, a paleo vegan. I forget the word that she used, but she put the two words together, and I thought that's the type of diet I think really works for most people. So anyway, to me, good beef, meat, chicken, fish, things like that, okay, that are wild, that are grass-fed if you can, at least hormone-free, antibiotic-free. We need that every once in a while. Okay, so we're going to the gut. The gut, as I said, is your second brain. There's a lot that goes on in the gut. So I want you to understand all the importance. Everything, all disease, Hippocrates says all diseases stem from the gut. That is true. Somewhere something is happening in here, okay? So the first line of defense we have is our stomach acid, and it kills the pathogens, parasites, and bacteria that can harm us. If you're taking an antacid and you're reducing that stomach acid, guess what? You're opening up yourself to be prone to pathogens, bacteria, and things like that. Okay? You're opening yourself for a couple of other different things as well. It's where a majority of our serotonin is made. About 90% is made in the gut. Is it important to have a healthy gut flora and a healthy gut? Kind of. Yeah. Okay. It facilitates the availability of our B vitamins. Here again, our stomach acid makes an enzyme that cleaves and breaks down our B12, our B6, and folate in order to be absorbed and utilized by the body. How many older people are on an antacid? A lot. What does dementia have to do with B vitamins? A lot, especially B12, okay? Dementia, B12, antacids, things like that, Prilosec, things like that, there's a problem, there's a link. 90% of our immune system is in our digestive system, which I kind of already said before. It's where it has to be working properly in order for food to be broken down and then absorbed. And if it's not working properly, that's not going to happen. And by the way, my digestive system, just genetically, is my weight point. Okay, I know the digestive system in and out. I do. I've had a lot of problems myself. It's not fun. Okay, it prevents irritants and toxins from reaching the brain. If you have a leaky gut, has anyone ever heard of a leaky gut? Awesome. What is a leaky gut? A leaky gut is when actually the space within the cells in the small intestine have actually separated a little bit because of an irritant of some sort. So there can be a variety of reasons for that. And what happens is that food particles can actually leak out, okay? And things like gluten, things like casein, other things too, and all of a sudden we're allergic to all these foods. And if the casein and the gluten goes up to the brain, it's like an opiate-like effect. And we see that a lot happening in children on the ASD spectrum, okay, and ADD and ADHD, by the way, okay? So there is an irritant that gets to the brain that's coming from the gut. So we can heal that, but we need to know why there's that leaky gut. Okay, we need to pull things away, we need to figure it out. Okay. There are about 100 trillion bacteria that live in our digestive system. That's a lot. That's more DNA than we have in our whole body. So they're kind of important, okay? So if we have a lot of bad bacteria and it's crowded out the good bacteria, we're going to have a problem. So this bacteria weighs about 3 pounds. We want those 3 pounds. We do. Okay. So I do a lot of testing that has to do with the digestive system. SIBO, anyone ever heard of that? That's a newer one. Yeah. A small intestinal bowel overgrowth. Our bacteria should be in our large intestines, not in our small intestines. And it has moved up for a lot of people. It's become a big thing. So if I have someone who comes in, I've treated them for a while, and we're not getting better, I go, well, I'm pretty sure we have SIBO. So we have to treat that, and that's the tougher one. It is. Okay. So signs of a compromised digestive system, and hopefully maybe you'll think here too of things that you can ask your clients, okay? So you know, hey, maybe there's something going on, maybe they need to go see somebody, or maybe I can even help them a little bit. If there's heartburn, acid reflux, that's not normal. There's a reason that's going on. Okay, either they're not digesting their food okay, they actually might have low stomach acid, believe it or not, okay? Stomach distension after eating, right? That's a sign probably, again, of low stomach acid and or pancreatic enzymes. So there's a problem going on here. And by the way, I'll give my patients stomach acid, HCl. I'll give them pancreatic enzymes. But I still want to know why that is going on. Okay, so I need to go back. Oh. Oops, I went forward. Oh, I went way forward. Okay. All right, indigestion is a problem. Belching is a problem. I mean, we all belch a little bit, okay? But it should be, I have clients come in, I go, wow. All right. Gastritis, okay? Just not feeling good, pain, and it's just not working very well. Ulcers, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, nausea, halitosis, undigested food in the stools. Okay, those are all signs. We've got more signs? Come on. Okay, fatigue. Often there'll be fatigue. That could be one of the sources. All right, so you have to look at that. Eczema, skin. Our skin comes from what's happening inside of us. Low levels of B12 and folate. So if you happen to see a lab and the folate's been tested, it should be RBC, not serum, by the way. The serum is what's out there. It's not what's in your cells. And B12 can indicate that there's something going on where? In the stomach, because that's where it's going to be broken down. It could also be because you're not absorbing it too. Okay, urinary tract infections can be a sign of an overgrowth of yeast. Low levels of iron, I often suspect leaky gut. It's not being absorbed. Okay, and also what's happening in the stomach. depression, anxiety, elevated C-reactive protein can be a problem there, hormonal imbalances, food sensitivities, which I talked about before in relationship to leaky gut, and then migraines, and then we can have behavior disorders, ADD, ADHD, autism, OCD. Those all can be associated with what's happening in the gut. Pretty big report. Okay, hormones. So we do have our thyroid hormones, okay, and unfortunately most doctors, a lot of doctors, will test. I see labs come in and they test it. Yeah, have your hormones to test for your thyroid hormone? Oh yeah, TSH. That's it. Okay, that stimulates your thyroid to produce hormones. And yes, it should be in relationship to what's going on, but you always have to have free T and free T3, free T4 measured as well, okay? And this happens more in women than men to have thyroid issues, but that can cause depression, it can cause constipation, it can cause a lot of different things. Okay, then we have our sex hormones and all that. I'm going to talk a little bit just about our stress hormones, our cortisol and adrenaline. By the way, does everyone know that insulin's a hormone?
What?
Insulin is a hormone, okay? It's produced in the pancreas and then it operates elsewhere, so it's a hormone. And it's our fat-storing hormone. So if we raise insulin, we eat food, we raise insulin, we're going to store fat because it's going to take all that excess calories and glucose in our blood and put it where it needs to be stored because it can't be utilized right now, okay? So, fat storing. Okay, so our little adrenal glands are right above our kidneys. We have 2 of them. Okay, there's a lot that happens inside those little glands, and so I do look at them lots of times when I have clients come in. So they are responsible for blood sugar and mood and energy. Now, if you have a client that you learn that they have explosive behavior, okay, could be a variety of reasons. One of the things to look at is their diet and their blood sugar level. Because for some people, when their blood sugar level gets low, their adrenaline and their cortisol will get kicked up because that's the body's response to a stressful situation. And having low blood sugar is stressful. You have low blood sugar, something's going to kick in to keep you going. And for some people, it over kicks. So if I have someone that, they say I have a client that is kind of explosive and they're okay other times, I want to look at what they're eating and when they're eating and how they're eating. Yeah.
And on the lower end of the spectrum, is it just when someone's hangry? Have you heard that expression? When they're kind of angry, when they're hungry, is that their blood sugars drop, they're hungry, so they get irritable. But you're saying when it's really bad.
And that person is probably hitting serotonin also, okay? But for them, their adrenaline and the cortisol gets kicked up that much more than the average person. Okay, and I'm the one that if I'm hungry, okay, right now I'm hungry, and I know my cortisol, my adrenaline is carrying me over this, okay, I know that. Okay, that's okay, it's 1 hour. Okay, I'm not going to bite your head off yet. I will in about 2 hours. I had a little bit of chicken, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And, but I need about an hour and a half, I'll probably bite your head, which is a little bit different than what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Sig-A is an immunoglobulin that's actually produced or influenced by the adrenal glands, and that protects our gut. Okay, so if our adrenals are off, we can have gut issues going on. Blood pressure. Someone comes in with blood pressure issues, either high or low. Okay, if we have low blood pressure, it could be a sign of thyroid issues. It could be a sign of adrenals being very, very tired and fatigued. Okay. High blood pressure, it would be the opposite. It would be the adrenal glands overworking here. So I look at that, high blood pressure, I look at magnesium, and I look at adrenals, okay, instead of slapping on, which I can't slap on prescription drug anyway. They also influence thyroid hormone conversion. That's important, okay? Neurotransmitters. Direct influence on neurotransmitters. So if something's going on in the adrenals, it's going to affect someone's mood. It also can affect the production of stomach acid, and our sex hormones are also produced in the adrenals. So if I have a woman that's going into menopause or perimenopause and their ovaries are starting to shut down the production of progesterone and estrogen, if they have adrenal glands that are not working properly, okay, the hormones that are normally being made in the adrenal gland, okay, if we need more cortisol, we don't have to have sex hormones to survive, right? We don't. We don't. but we have to have cortisol and adrenaline to survive. So if your body is requiring more, or if it's tired, it's going to shunt everything from the sex hormones, bless you,
Thank you.
over to making cortisol. So when a woman starts to go into perimenopause, and how old are we about then? We've been working, we've been raising kids, are we a little bit tired, a little bit fatigued? We are. Okay? So they're probably going to feel the effects of the drop in estrogen and progesterone from the ovaries if their adrenals are tired. Okay? You're going to feel it more. Okay. Inflammation and toxins, sources. I want you to understand the sources. Food, number one. Okay? Pesticides. Oh, I didn't talk about GMOs. I'm not really going to. But eat organic as much as you can, please. And go on to the, on Google or whatever, and I forget the organization, and just type in the 12, the GMO foods, and you know what they are. But if you do
Dirty
organic,
dozen.
the dirt, that's the pet for pesticides, but the GMOs would be the soy, the corn, the alfalfa, the canola oil, the cottonseed, soybean. Thank you. That was a big one. Thank you. Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So pesticides are huge. Eat organic. Pesticides bind with a lot of different things, especially our minerals of the soil. Binds with that. Chemicals on clothing, flooring, new cars. We are bombarded by chemicals all the time. I went and got my car detailed the other day, and I went in there and I went, oh my God. It smelled like this gross strawberry stuff. And I looked and I saw like a little square on the side, you know, a side pocket. I went, oh God, let me get that out. And then I went out the next morning, I was like, oh, they must have stuck more elsewhere. There was 2 underneath my seats. It's like, oh, that's toxic. Air fresheners are toxic. Bug sprays are toxic. You got ants? 409 is not the best, but or ammonia 409 or tallow powder or something, comment, okay? Try not to use pesticides in your house as much, or bug spray as much as you can. Vaccines, I am going to say something here, okay? I'm not totally against vaccines, okay? But they can be a source of inflammation and toxin, and it depends on the person, okay? And we need to know that, and that's real. Okay, to have a blanket where these young children have, I don't know, some like 30 vaccines by the time they're 6 or something like that. I forget exactly what it is. That's too much for a little person. Too much for a little person. We need to understand and look at why there is so much more cancer. Why is there so much more autism? People on the spectrum. We can't just ignore it. Okay. All right. Medications are irritants. We need them sometimes, but just know, okay, they can be irritant and inflammation. Just when we drive, all of the pollution off of the roads, tires, the gas, the exhaust, okay? That's it. Physical injury is a source of inflammation. So if you have a physical injury, know that your body is requiring more to repair itself on a lot of different levels. So that's a stressor. Okay? Thoughts again. Stress in general. Okay, so sources of stress would be job, finances, marriage, divorce, having a new baby, whatever it is, change, the stress, okay? So you've got to look at the whole thing together. And the gut is probably the biggest source of inflammation. Again, I already talked about leaky gut, so you need to understand that. And if you have overgrowth of bad bacteria, you've got IBS, those are all huge sources of inflammation, stress, and they all hit the adrenal. They hit other parts of your body as well. Okay. Medication or drug muggers. I wonder if there's something in my notes I need to refer to here. We're getting to the good part here. I have no idea what time it is. What time is it?
10 after 1.
Okay. I can talk about it. Okay. So medications are drug muggers. They can change our intestinal flora, the bacteria in our stomach. They can affect the stomach acid. They affect the availability of our B vitamins, of our minerals. Zinc. Zinc is responsible for over 300 mechanisms in our body. It's kind of a lot. And magnesium, over 400. Okay? Kind of a lot. Kind of important. It can affect our vitamin D, CoQ10, biotin, all those things. So these are the things, these are the drugs here. We got Nexium, Prilosec, and acids. Robs us of about everything. So if any of you are on them, try to find a way of getting off of them. I know there is a problem with esophageal cancer you have to watch out about. There's something going on that you need to address, okay? The robs us of zinc, magnesium, B12, folate, amino acids, AA, amino acids, okay? Because stomach acid dysfunction is to break down proteins. That's what it breaks down in the stomach, okay, to amino acids, smaller particles, as well as kill the bacteria, as well as make your B vitamins available. Birth control, HRT, this is a question you can, so these are questions that you can create, okay, or ask. Birth control, hormone replacement therapy, it changes the flora in the digestive system, especially progesterone does, for some. I'm one of those. It wreaks havoc on my whole system. So if a young lady is taking birth control pills, she might have also digestive issues, and we're hoping to have some balls. Antibiotics, obviously change your gut bacteria, so you always want to make sure that you're following up an antibiotic with a probiotic. Statins. Are statins overprescribed? Yes, overprescribed with huge side effects. It just, we don't need our cholesterol quite as low as they're saying we need it. Part of the problem when you get higher cholesterol is all the inflammation in our body. So we need to learn how to tone down that inflammation. But statins rob us of CoQ10. I hope that everyone here, if you're on a statin, you are taking CoQ10 because it robs our body of making it, okay, or being able to utilize it.
Is that a lower cholesterol lowering?
Yeah. And I'm surprised at how many people come into my office and their doctor never ever recommended CoQ10. And that's a well-known fact. And CoQ10 is heart protective. So it gives you a statin so that it can protect your prevent you from heart disease, but yet the robbing of CoQ10, which is heart protective. It's like, huh? Okay. Statins also cause what we call oxidative stress. And that's what's happening in the mitochondria and within your cells that affects energy, depression, all sorts of things. Okay? So low energy and moods. Prozac affects the thyroid and digestion. And that's probably one of the reasons why we see weight gain, probably with the thyroid. Okay, so that's just a little snippet. There's actually, if you were to Google drug muggers, I forget the name, she's a I don't know if she's still a pharmacist. She used to be a pharmacist. I can't remember her name. But if you just Google drug muggers, she's got a whole PDF that will give you a whole list of what's wrong and specific drugs. She's really cool. Okay. I want to talk about B vitamins. They're one of the light switch things that turn on and off our genes, okay? They're a must in order to get rid of toxins and to make neurotransmitters. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Function of the B vitamins, important for turning the genes on and off, making neurotransmitters, heart health, producing energy in the mitochondria, and detoxification. Okay, I just said all that with my genetics. Okay, we're here. There's a couple of things that we can test for when it comes to genetics, but again, I'm just going to talk about one thing because it hits about 60% of the American population. You're going to hear me mention this doctor's name again, but Dr. Ben Lynch is the guru on this, and he goes around and he does educate doctors, health professionals all around the world about MTHFR. Okay? MTHFR, methyl tetra hydrofolate reductase. Okay, when you hear the word reductase, it's an enzyme. Okay, it's going to make something happen. It's going to make something available usually. All right. Methyl. Okay, all of our B vitamins basically methylate. They donate a methyl group. Just think about that. Okay, so that's the M. Tetra. So there's 4, right? Hydro. It's water soluble. Folate. Now I know all of you know about folic acid, right? No. Where do they put folic acid? Where do you get it from? Folate. I want to make a distinction. Folate you get from plants. Yes. Folic acid, where do we get it from? man-made. It's man-made, okay? They put it in prenatals, right? They put it in prenatals because they found that it helped with brain, development of the brain, okay? And the nervous system, and fetuses and babies, right? So it's in your prenatals. And they also put it in most of your processed foods, okay? Now, your body can, 40% of us can utilize folic acid very, very well. About 40% of us can, okay? The other 60 maybe be able to use it, maybe only 30%, and the other, maybe 70%. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? I'm going to tell you why this is so important. On my next slide, please don't run for the doors. I'm going to patiently go through it, okay? I want you to understand what's going on. Is there anything I want to say about that? No. Okay. I want you to understand the relationship between this gene and what's going on as far as detoxification, because that affects the brain. Toxins in our liver go up to our brain, and also the production of neurotransmitters. Okay, so that's why I'm bringing this up. Okay, so now, don't run for the hills. Okay. I want to start here. So this is, let me show you how this gene works and how this all relates to what we do. Okay. So this middle cycle, this middle circle, this middle wheel is your folate wheel. Okay, that's where it starts. Over here, think of this as your detoxification pathway. Glutathione, has anyone ever heard of glutathione? It's your master detoxifier, and that's produced in your liver. You need a lot of other components to get there, okay? But it's like flypaper. You want toxins, you want glutathione because it pulls the toxins out of your body. Again, we need a lot of different things. You can see you need cysteine, okay, and that's an amino acid. You need certain amino acids, and you need B vitamins too. Now over on this cycle, right over here, which the folate also kicks off too, okay, is all of your neurotransmitters. That's what you got going on here. So folate's kind of the middle of all of that. All right. So you see that MTHFR, right? That gene right here, right here. Okay. So if we have folic acid up here, we take folic acid in, we have to have this enzyme right here to break it down to folate, and then from there we have to break it down. This is the absorbable form, that's the utilized form right here, 5-MTHF. We need to have this enzyme in order for us to get to this point, in order to make this folate work. Now, if you get folate from your leafy ingredients from your diet, you're going to be getting this form, okay? So if you don't, if you've got a problem with this, okay, with that reductase, the more leafy greens that you can eat, the better. Okay, for all of us anyway, okay? Now, if we're going to go over here, and we're going to be going over into the detoxification, guess what else we need? We need B12. We need it in available form, and I'm going to show you the next slide with available, or I'm going to talk about available form. And we also need B6 in order for this pathway to work. You see SAMe? Has anyone ever given SAMe to any of their clients? And it's worked? Sometimes. Okay, so maybe it's what they needed, maybe it wasn't. Because SAMe kind of skips a lot of steps. Okay? So, has anyone ever had a patient on Deplin? Yes, okay. Was it helpful?
Well, they gave it, the psychiatrist gave it to a few clients because the antidepressants weren't helping enough. So they added Deplin, which I think is basically B6, right?
No.
It's folate?
It's this.
Oh, it's folate.
It's prescription form of it. But it's that. That's what it is. Very high dose. I think it's 10,000 mcgs, which would be 10 milligrams, I believe. That what it comes down to. And the RDA, okay, what's recommended of folic acid is 400 mcgs. So 10,000 mcgs is a lot. So do any of those people get a release?
See, 2 for one person.
One person, okay. So that would tell me that that one person probably had 1 or 2 of the gene SNPs here, okay? Probably did. So if someone's on the SSRI and it's not working for them, it's because they're still not going to be able to break that SSR down because you need that folate in order to make it work. And sometimes you can give them the SAMe, which will skip right? Some of those steps here. So if you give them the SAMe, it's gonna skip the stuff that's going on here that we need. For some people that will help, okay? You'll see here, you need B6, vitamin C, in order to make your catecholamines, your phenylalanine, your epinephrine, norepinephrine, all those things down here. I want to just show you one thing here too, and that is this cycle spits out, the tryptophan spits all this out, and tryptophan can either go one of two ways. Okay, all of you have heard of tryptophan? Yeah? Okay. So tryptophan was kind of taken off the market because there was a bad batch and everyone got scared, so they're giving them 5-HTP. By the way, do any of you suggest 5-HTP to your clients at all? You do? Okay. Have you done it for sleep?
I sometimes recommend both, either tryptophan or 5-HTP,
Okay.
because some people do better with one than the other.
You're right. You're right. So tryptophan seems to help, along with B6, I find, a little bit more with the sleep. The 5-HTP can help with other things. Yeah.
Well, the 5-HTP would be given more during the day. I would think.
Yeah, it seems super for sleep. I'm finding the tryptophan seems to help a little bit more. If there's inflammation, and there's many sources of inflammation, right? Your gut, your lifestyle, whatever it is, instead of tryptophan going up here to make your serotonin, your melatonin, it's going to be hijacked. So here again, we need to find out what's going on in this person. Is there a lot of inflammation in their gut? Is their lifestyle producing inflammation? Because if it is, that might be the block in order to make that serotonin. So it can be a lot of different places, okay? Not one size fits all, because a lot of different things can be going on. Now, you can be tested for MTHFR, okay? It is becoming more and more known, okay? LabCorp, LabQuest even does it, okay? So, now, not all of your insurance companies will pay for it. So you need to find that out. I don't know what the lab cost is in order to have it happen. There's also a cheek swab. I work with a lab that will do a cheek swab, and that, for just the MTHFR, I think it's like $275 or something like that. They test for 2 genes, okay? Now, if a person comes back and they have one of the genes, that's when their folate, ability to utilize the folate is going to be reduced by probably about 30%. Okay? If they come back with both the genes, they've inherited a gene from each parent, then they're going to come back with probably the inability to utilize this at about 70%. That's pretty big. Okay? Now, again, these people even at 30% deficit or 70% deficit can change things around by their lifestyle, by what they eat. They will still need supplementation probably. Yes?
Have you heard of a term called methyl trap?
A methyl trap.
Methyl trap?
I haven't.
It's come up among a group of people who recommend bioavailable B-complex.
Okay. Okay, I haven't heard that before. I'm talking about it. Perfect. Yes. Okay, so this is part of it. There is bioavailable B12, B6, and my slide isn't in order. It's like 3 slides down. But I'll go to it and I'll come back. Perfect. Thank you. Because we do want to make sure. I've got 5 minutes. Holy Toledo. Okay, we do want to make sure that when you do give your client a B supplement, that they're getting bioavailable. So let me skip to that because it's really important. By the way, I find a lot of people that have this gene, okay, a history. So some things to look at, a family history of depression. They've been depressed for a long time. It's not just situational, okay, or a lot of anxiety. We'll also see, I see a lot of bright people that will have this. Bipolar, all that, okay? So they're missing that gene, but man, their brain is amazing. Kids on the ASD spectrum too, okay? All right, let me go forward to find, okay. This is the methylated form that you want to find your B vitamins in, okay? Folate versus folic acid, we want the folate, okay? And we want, so it needs to say folate, and it will usually say 5-methyl and 5-MT-methyl tetra. So 5 and folate, just look for those 2 words. Stay away from folic acid. Okay, now again, some people can utilize it If you can't utilize the folic acid, you're taking folic acid in your processed foods or through a supplement, it will block the receptor site for folate. Okay, so it's a double whammy. For your B12, you want methylcobalamin, so it doesn't get jammed up. Okay, not cobalamin. You guys go home and look at your vitamins, it will say cobalamin unless it's a pretty high quality one. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate is what you want over the pyridoxal hydrochloride. Okay, over-the-counter brands and maybe even online, Jarrow is a fairly good one. Your Chapter Twin Labs Pure Encapsulation is great online. I think Designs by Health is also online. And what the Miller here.
What about Swanson?
I think they're pretty good. Look, so you gotta look. And also look for your vitamins for artificial sweeteners and flavors. We call them, like, really. Okay, I've got 5 minutes here. I do want to give you resources. I've skipped some, we're at the end. We're at the end.
No worries. Okay. And you're just using your time afterward for questions too, so people don't want to, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here are some good resources that I recommend to you if you're curious about this. This is a great book for ADD, ADHD, autism, anti-anxiety food solution, really good. Ultramind, and I hope all of you have heard of Dr. Mark Hyman or on his email. He's very generous. Good, I'm just seeing heads. Webinars at Genova Labs, very, very good. Dr. Ben Lynch is seekinghealth.org, and he's very generous too. And then for using, I was going to talk about amino acids, using them when it comes to addictions and things like that. I didn't get to it. This is a good book for that. Do I have anything on my website regarding addictions and amino acids and supplements? I do not at this point. My website is also, I think, a good source. It's www.alivingbalance.net. I've got business cards up there if you want to grab one. I have some of these. I only have maybe 10 or 12. Okay, this describes what I do. You want to know a little bit more. So, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you.